right. Welcome everybody to today's Albany Industrial Development Agency Finance Committee meeting. All members of the IB are here with the exception of Joe Better and Chris Betts. We have a quorum. First order of business is always, I would ask for a motion to accept the reading of the minutes and accept them as presented, seeing that they have been previously distributed. There a motion?
Make a motion.
All right, second. Any questions, comments, deletions, additions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Having no report from Chief Financial Officer this month, we'll go straight into unfinished business, South End Second Hand LLC, discussion for recommendation for public hearing resolution.
Yes, I think, sorry, I meant to mention this sooner. I think we were actually gonna propose doing new business first,
Okay.
just for the sake of time.
All right.
Because the new business is a little
So
short.
we'll table the unfinished business and go into new business, Ontario Wet LLC. A project that I think is slated to take the place of the former Center for Children and Families, I believe. On Ontario Street.
Thank you. So in July, staff received a draft request letter for data assistance from Ontario West LLC. The applicant is jointly owned by Ken Regan, Larry Regan, the Albany County Land Bank, Jeremy Regan and Gabe Regan. The project site, as noted, is located at 130 Ontario Street between Bradford and West Streets and is currently owned by the Albany County Land Bank. The project consists of the demolition of the existing vacant building and the new construction of a 4-story, approximately 95,000 square foot structure consisting of 76 units of affordable housing, a community hub space, and a commercial space intended for a daycare facility. The applicant is seeking 9% low-income housing tax credits from New York State Homes and Community Renewal in the upcoming round. And the applicant is requesting exemptions from real property tax, mortgage recording tax, and sales tax. So the representative for the applicant is here today, so I'll turn it over to their team to speak a little bit about the project.
Good afternoon, Paul Goldman. I've got Larry Regan as has been introduced by the chair here. 76 units, it's a daycare facility. It's similar to the other project that we did over on Colvin Avenue. So it's gonna be the same type of thing. They're in the process of, we've got all final site plan approval. So the only unique piece to this is a portion of West Avenue is gonna be kind of like closed and cut off. And we'll have a cul-de-sac from the rear end. We're in the process of acquiring that, getting that appraised, but it has received final site plan approval if anyone knows about that, but that's gonna move forward with that. So we expect it to be much the same as what we did on Colvin.
No, I just want to add, this is similar to our other two projects that we've done successfully in the city. The Swinburne Apartments, which this board very kindly worked with us to get tax agreements in place, both for the commercial and the residential portions. Also, our second project, which was going into occupancy in November, which we're really on target for our occupancy, both for the daycare facility, which we have rented, as well as the apartments on Colvin Ave. Very similar on this, we're going for 9% tax credits. Everything is between that median income range, 60%, mostly down to 80% down to 60%. There's a number of units that are serving supportive housing clients, working with RSS here for special needs. Those will be down to 30%, but it's a very similar request that we have for all of your help on this regard, as we have every other. So we look forward to working with you and happy to answer any questions.
If you could supplement my narrative as needed too, Larry. So what this board hasn't seen it, at least at the IDA level, an inducement resolution.
Yeah.
The theory being is that inducement resolution will potentially put Mr. Regan's application to HCR for the 9% low income housing tax credits at a higher score with this resolution. Nadine's going to speak a little bit to what this resolution means, what it doesn't mean, but essentially, again, correct me if I misspeak, this resolution does not commit the board to any inaction or action. It's basically something that's saying In theory, this is a project that would typically be eligible for IDA assistance. It fits within the mission of the IDA currently. And it also outlines the fact that, we will be seeing a complete application and a complete set of financials prior to making any official additional action going forward. The cadence of the meetings would be exactly the same with a 3-month process inclusive of a public hearing. So really, this is just an additional initial step that's gonna hopefully position their application in a better light with HCR.
I'm gonna, Paul, for the preliminary inducement resolution that's needed, is it because it's a little more than a public hearing resolution? Is that why?
Yeah, and I think that's my understanding of that. And also, it kind of flows back to the old, this will date.
Yes.
It flows back to when we passed inducement resolutions to grandfather the costs for taxes and bonds, so that's
Yes.
why I'm policy.
Right. Okay, so this resolution will authorize a public hearing. Seeker hasn't been done, but so it would be, the company be obligated to complete seeker before the IDA can move forward. Plus, you're gonna still need mayor's approval. And, we just still need to do the commercial finding resolution, so we based all on that. So there's gonna be a lot of contingencies in that resolution. It is a little more than a public hearing resolution, but not much more.
Again, it's not a final resolution, we
Right.
understand that,
Okay.
I think you guys clearly understand that, it's what we need to make the application score better, and it grandfathers certain costs. And we hope to get this for all of it.
I have a couple other questions. The demolition, is that included in the cost of the project for the IDA? Okay, and the tax map number, the address, is it only one tax map number?
It's a portion, okay, so there's the portion of West Street, I can give you the tax
Yes,
map
you
numbers.
send those to me, yeah.
Yeah, I can give you the two, there's actually 3 of them, so I
Okay.
can give them to you.
Yeah.
And then there's a portion of West Street which doesn't have a tax map number, and then I'm meeting with Trey to get our assessment, because it's it's really, it's an improved building, so.
Okay, so I'll need all that if you can today.
Yeah.
And if they need the resolutions, the IDA needs resolutions by Friday. And is it gonna be more than the 0.91 acres? That's in the application?
No, it should be pretty much what the 2 portions owned by the
Okay.
land bank, plus whatever piece of the road that we're acquiring.
Okay, so still about the same acreage, just,
Yeah.
okay, additional tax.
It's here, I've got the pages for you.
Okay, great.
For their highlighted.
Okay, great. All right, thank you.
So are we voting on today to generally say we support inducement resolution, or just gonna wait for that, the whole idea board of call?
So the resolution would come out for potential board approval next week. So the requested action today would be a positive or, as you see fit, negative recommendation to have that resolution to the board.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see the resolution right now, but in general, I certainly would support, I mean, this has been a deeply troubled property since the nonprofit closed down. And I don't know of any property in the city that has absorbed more city resources than this property. We have police, fire, codes, everything. So, yeah, please build this.
No, it's the same, we've been working closely with Councilor Gallery on this for a couple of years, so along with the land bank, and we're as anxious as the city is to get moving on this. So as you know, the process, we have to go through the 9% funding sources.
Right. So, yeah, I would ask for a motion to support for the impeachment resolution for the board meeting next week.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
No. Thank you. All right. Unfinished business now?
Yes.
Okay. South End, second half. LLC, public hearing resolution.
So the project at hand is South End Second Ave LLC. This project was introduced at last month's finance committee meeting. The applicant is jointly owned and managed by MDG RNY Development Owners and Novus Albany South End LLC. This project is a scatter site of 62 parcels in the South End, located on Broad Street, Clinton Street, South Brill Street, Tuna Street, Second Ave, and Third Ave. And the project involves the redevelopment of the 62 vacant lots into 166 units of affordable housing. In total, this will be approximately 186,000 square feet of residential, 1,100 square feet of commercial, and about 3,000 square feet of common areas. And the residential units will serve income qualifying residents between 50 and 80% of the area's median income. Staff has conducted an index cost benefit analysis, which I'll provide an overview of now. So, in theory, the status quo taxes for this project would be $1,095,736, but it is important to note these parcels are currently tax exempt, so currently paying 0 in taxes. The projected pilot payments are $4,560,988, resulting in a net benefit of $3,465,252. But again, that'll pretty much be all net benefit because it's currently tax exempt. The properties are currently valued at $768,500 with an anticipated future value of $11,820,000 based on a letter from the city assessor, which is a net increase of $11,051,500. At the end of the pilot, this project is anticipated to make annual tax payments of $607,432 based on that approved assessed value and an annual rate of 66.09. And it's an estimated investment of $97,371,504. And we will discuss the financials of the project in more depth in an executive session. Additionally, this project has committed to the creation of 2 full-time jobs and 100 construction jobs. We did engage with CDRPC to conduct an in-plan analysis of the effects of the employment for the temporary construction jobs with a combination of direct, indirect, and induced effect. It'll result in a total output of approximately $93,975,045. And for the permanent jobs, the combination of direct, indirect, and induced will result in an output of $368,127. So the applicant is requesting a 30-year pilot agreement with 5% shelter rents, which is a deviation from CADA policy. And they're also requesting that the commercial pilot be included within that shelter rent pilot, as the commercial space is a negligible amount of the total square footage. We did engage with WZHA to conduct a third-party review of the project financials, as this does represent a deviation. The executive summary of that review is on page 11 of your packet. But WZHA found that the request is reasonable according to CADA policy and HCR requirements, and that the benefit of having a separate commercial pilot does not outweigh the administrative burden it would cause for such a small amount of square footage. And we will discuss that further in executive session as well. So finally, we did want to go over the matrix scoring sheet for this project. I will note there was an error in the original one, so there's a second one sort of inserted in your packets, but as this is being, it's affordable housing and it's being scored outside the framework, this is more an exercise for comparative purposes, but the project is in the distressed census tract located in census tracts 25 and 26, as well as high vacancy census tract. It is within the South End strategic plan, the neighborhood plan from the city of Albany. So the project also received a point for being tax exempt and vacant. So total of 4 points for revitalization. In terms of job creation, they are committing to 2 full-time jobs and 100 construction jobs for a total of 3 points. They will get 3 points for the $97 million investment. And they also get 6 points for the baseline requirements of a complete application, meeting New York State and CADA requirements, alignment with Albany 2030, as well as planning approval, the project use definition, and meeting the but-for requirement.
And just to supplement that, again, this project, because it is purpose-built affordable housing, is being examined outside of the framework. So this scoring is for comparative purposes only, kind of the best we can do, apple to apples comparison project to project, but the actual end numeric value does not equate to eligibility or ineligibility for data assistance.
Thank you. And with that, we do have a representative from the land bank as well as from MVG Development here today. So if the board has any questions, they are available to answer them.
Thank you. The questions I have are potential cost. It seems awfully expensive for 62 buildings, and we're in 97 million, and I know it's not always about, you know, apples to apples, but it's being valued at about $12 million for assessment purposes. Why is it costing so much for this property, for these properties to be built?
Yeah, I'm happy to, I'm Philip Petrie, I'm the Vice President of Development at MVG, so we've, to sort of for-profit authorities of land bank, so yeah, I'm happy to talk about some of the challenges and some of the cost drivers. Construction. Certainly, the historic neighborhood has been a big part. We received HRC, Historic Resource Commission approval. Right through that approval,
You're not refurbishing.
correct, it's all vacant lots. So it's a new construction, 62 individual buildings were basically ties to the allowable zoning. But yeah,
For historic purposes?
because it's in a historic area, we still, even though the buildings are new, we still had to comply in a bunch of different ways with the historic look. So, you know, some of the cost drivers from that perspective are materials on the facade. You know, we have to use, high quality materials, which is great. They last a long time, but they are more expensive. We have specific window designs, and even the frames of the windows, couldn't be vinyl, they couldn't be metal. They had to be, a specific kind of fiber product that resembles the original sort of wood products better, but not durability.
Now I'm beginning to understand.
Yeah, window, kind of like window highlights, cornices, kind of all these different features that, will make it fit in. Obviously, it's gonna be new and it's sort of see in the renders, but we tried to add some kind of like more playful elements so that it's not mistaken for an old building, but it has those characteristics and those high quality features of an old building. So we use colors, we use form. I think that, that was definitely a cost driver. I think, just talking about a few others is, as you kind of pointed out, it's new construction, but it is being built as 62 individual buildings. It would be far more efficient to have, clustered sites, either one building, or in our case, there are some like that. That stretch picture there where we have, 4 or 5 contiguous buildings. And so just because of how the zoning was built, each of those 4 or 5 contiguous buildings is its own building, has its own structure, has its own fire system in most cases, just has its own stairwell. So, that was kind of another driver to comply with the as-is zoning. They had to be kind of, separated. So while it is a large project, we get some efficiency of scale because of the size. We also lose some because of the construction and having to be the individual sites. So I think that was another big one. And then I think kind of another key piece is also just the, the condition of the infrastructure in the neighborhood. A lot of disinvestment for 100 years, maybe more. So we are doing a lot of sidewalk work. We're basically doing most of the sidewalks in front of, large stretches of the streets. And in many cases, we're also doing the road in front because in order to do 5 separate sewer connections, right? We have to cut out the road of 5 separate lines. So as a result of that, we're redoing the big chunks of the road as opposed to just individual pieces. We have a, as part of our permitting process, we have an agreement to do sewer lining. So on a few streets or a couple streets where we have a lot of contiguous sites, we're actually relining the public sewer. And then we're also replacing certain water lines that are old and deteriorated as well on those streets.
And you're able to get the state money, the credits to do this work.
Yep. Yeah, and just how it's set up, it's all sort of funded through the state, through Fortress tax credit program. And, and then additionally, a lot of state subsidy. So that state subsidy amount is over the typical term sheet, which is kind of what's driving our request for a reduced pilot percentage. But yeah, I mean, I think those are really the big drivers. I mean, it's a hilly site. It's, there's some existing site conditions like, existing foundation rubble that we're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, any archaeological issues that you know of?
No,
Right.
yeah, we did conduct a, I think it's called the phase 1B report to investigate all the archaeological concerns, and so that, that came positively and that was reviewed by HRC as well. And yeah, at this stage, we have not received our final planning approval, but we're kind of in the very last stage across. I think we have 20 or 30 different permit sets due to the groupings of buildings, so. It's things like that are, doing title for 60 lots, more expensive than doing title for 1 lot, or doing all these different things. Kind of adds to the overall cost in addition to the construction costs, but we're. At the end of the process, we have HCR's commitment to close the deal in December. And we are pushing very hard on all fronts to make sure everything's lined up to do that, and, really, we see this as a really. It's not often that you get to transform a neighborhood, and do so without kind of the threat of, displacing existing residents or demolishing historic buildings or any of that. So pretty unique chance to get these lots that have been out of use for a while, so back into a really beneficial.
That may have exhausted my questions. Anybody else? Anywhere? All right.
I did want to note, as Olivia kind of alluded to, for many of the reasons that were just cited, in addition to the site being a scatter site, the agency in the past has, and for this project did consider a deviation in the requested shelter payment. As such, we did contract with a third-party consultant to also do a parallel analysis of both the financial feasibility of the project and the reasonableness of the request. A draft executive summary was part of the public facing materials in front of you in print. You also have the full memo from WZHA. Obviously, their analysis did find that the request was reasonable and necessary. So we can, at your full discretion, Chair, enter into an executive session to discuss any of the financial dynamics in detail if you so choose.
I don't think I need to do that myself, but if anybody else wants to. So in executive session, we discuss. The finances in more detail.
Good.
Right. All right.
Question, Clinton Street, what's the address is from where it was?
We have, you get to the page, there is a listing here.
Now it's Reese, who's gonna find it?
It's
You
58.
got it, page 19.
Oh,
1970.
yeah, and 58 also shows a map view. As well.
Thank you.
Map view is definitely the most useful to understand pattern of scale, but it's, essentially four city blocks and then 2 outliers. 4 city blocks where focus is. We have sort of 2 outlier property, one south of Berlin, that contains a shop front, so.
Thank you.
Nice to see the land bank going to use for exactly its intended purpose. Yeah. All right, any other questions? Then I'd ask for a motion for a positive recommendation for public hearing resolution. All right, second. Second. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything for agency updates?
Yes, and I think for agency update, staff is gonna make the request to enter into the executive session to seek advice of counsel.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion to go into executive session.
We'll move.
Second. Second. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Just give me 1 second.
So you're out. Any other,
Here.
agency update, compliance update? No action. Let's take it. Yeah, are we back on or?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. Sorry.
Yep, so we are, welcome back. We are back in regular session. We discussed, got advice from council, project, no action was taken. And we move forward with the rest of the agenda. So is there any other agency update or compliance update? Yes.
Just a quick note, staff is in the midst of prepping, budget for the following fiscal year. We expect to have a full spread documentation available to review next finance committee meeting. We do have a draft, we're refining it, we'll engage in committee as appropriate, more to come about that.
Great.
No complaints. Actually.
Well, with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Second, all those in favor? Aye.